Some crazy breaking news in regards to the First Amendment and separation of church and state. The Trump administration just sent out a memo that all federal workers are now allowed to proselytize, to evangelize their religion to their coworkers, and talk about how their religion is better. This is the memorandum sent to all heads and acting heads of department and agencies. The founders established a nation in which people were free to practice their faith without fear of discrimination or retaliation by their government. President Trump is committed to reaffirming America's unique and beautiful tradition of religious liberty, including by directing the executive branch to vigorously enforce the historic and robust protections for religious liberty enshrined in federal law. The federal workforce should be a welcoming place for federal employees who practice a religious faith. Allowing religious discrimination in the federal workplace violates the law. It also threatens to adversely impact recruitment and retention of highly qualified employees of faith. The First Amendment to the Constitution robustly protects expression of religious faith by all Americans, including federal employees. The U.S. Supreme Court has clarified that the Free Exercise Clause protects not only the right to harbor religious beliefs inwardly and secretly, but also protects the ability of those who hold religious beliefs of all kinds to live out their faith in daily life. Indeed, respect for religious expression is indispensable to life in a free and diverse republic. That all may sound well and good on the surface, like, oh yeah, we should protect religious freedom. Obviously, everybody should be free to practice their own religion. But that's not what this memo is about. This memo is about forcing religion into government. This is the categories of employee conduct which should not result in a disciplinary or corrective action, display and use items for religious purposes or religious icons. And I want you to notice something about all of this. They give examples every time of what's acceptable to display or practice, and it is all Christian. It's literally just Christianity, Catholicism, and Judaism that they are giving examples of. It says it's okay to have on your desks or on your person Bibles, artwork, jewelry, posters displaying religious messages, and other indicia of religion, such as crosses, crucifixes, and mezuzahs. Expressions by groups of federal employees. Agencies should allow one or more employees to engage in individual or communal religious expressions in both formal and informal settings alone or with fellow employees, so long as such expressions do not occur during on-duty time. Agencies should not restrict such expressions based merely on hypothetical or potential concern. Now, this is the truly crazy one. Conversations between federal employees. Employees may engage in conversations regarding religious topic with fellow employees, including attempting to persuade others of the correctness of their own religious views, provided that such efforts are not harassing in nature. So quite literally, when you're just on break at work, if you're a federal employee trying to get like a cup of coffee, someone can come up to you and start saying that their religion is better than yours and that you should join it. And I'm so sure that the Trump administration will set up some kind of formal complaint system that somebody can go to and be like, I feel harassed by this person's religion. But they are most certainly going to take the side of the person proselytizing. Employees may also encourage their coworkers to participate in religious expressions of faith, such as prayer, to the same extent that they would be permitted to encourage coworkers participate in other personal activities. So like when you're talking about what you're going to do over the weekend, if you say, oh, I'm going to go camping, your coworker can come up to you and say, you should go to church instead. The constitutional rights of supervisors to engage in such conversations should not be distinguished from non-supervisory employees by the nature of their supervisory roles. However, unwillingness to engage in such conversations may not be the basis of workplace discipline. So your boss can literally come up to you and say that my religion is better than yours and you should go to church this weekend. Your boss can now say that, according to the federal government. And this is an appendix in the memorandum, which is only 5 pages. Like, you should go read it. It is 5 pages of crazy Christo-fascist nonsense. And this is examples of permissible religious expression in the workplace. And again, I want you to see what examples they give, and more importantly, what things they leave out. Display and use of items used for religious purposes or religious icons. An employee may keep a Bible on her desk and may read it during breaks. Similarly, an employee may keep rosary beads, or tefillin on her desk. During breaks, she may use such items to pray. An agency may restrict all posters, but an agency may not single out religious posters, such as those of a crucifix, a Bible verse, or a Star of David for harsher treatment. So now people can put in their cubicles a poster of the crucifix, a poster of Jesus Christ being violently murdered. They can put that up in their cubicle as an expression of religious faith. I was raised Catholic. We had crucifixes everywhere for sure, but who has posters of crucifixes that they want to bring to work? That's That's nuts. Again, just a crucifix, a Bible verse, or a Star of David. An employee may wear a cross as well as clothing displaying a religious message. So now the dress code is totally being relaxed and they can wear religious t-shirts. Expressions by groups of federal employees. A group of employees may form a prayer group and gather for prayer or study of scripture or holy books at the office while not on duty hours. So you could just be having a quiet lunch break by yourself, just chilling, and a prayer group could break out behind you and they could harass and persuade you to join them. And if you say anything about it, you're actually the bad guy. See, an employee who requests his supervisor prohibit his coworkers from gathering in an empty conference room for prayer should politely be told his coworkers' conduct will be allowed to continue as it is permissible. If anybody is upset because there is a prayer group happening at the office, they are told, screw you, you're not allowed to be upset about this. This is so anti-constitutional, it's fucking crazy. Conversations between federal employees. During a break, an employee may engage another in polite discussion of why his faith is correct and why the non-adherent should rethink his religious beliefs. I'm going to say that again. During a break, an employee may engage in polite discussion of why his faith is correct and why the non-adherent should rethink his religious beliefs. However, if the non-adherent requests such attempts to stop, the employee should honor the request. Again, like I said, I'm sure there's going to be a long-winded process that people have to go through to get their coworkers to stop harassing them about their faith. An employee may invite another to worship at her church despite belonging to a different faith. On a bulletin board meant for personal announcements, a supervisor may post a handwritten note inviting each of his employees to attend an Easter service at his church. That's so specific. Expressions among or directed at members of the public. A park ranger leading a tour through a national park may join her tour group in prayer. You guys are firing all the park rangers, so what are you even talking about? A doctor at a Veterans Affairs hospital may pray over his patient for her recovery. And again, you guys are defunding the VA and firing veterans. Expressions in areas accessible to the public. A security guard stationed at the front desk of a federal office building may display and use a crucifix, Bible, or use rosary beads. So Jewish people don't even get an example in that one. That's just pure Christianity. A receptionist in a doctor's office at a VA medical center may pray with a coworker in the patient's waiting area. So now employees at the VA can go out and pray in the public waiting area. Listen, I do not think that the government should be infringing on people's right to practice religion, like at all. Obviously, that is a huge part of the United States. We are all free to practice whatever religion we choose or to not practice religion. But it is absolutely against the separation of church and state. It is against the First Amendment. It is against the Constitution to force a religion on people in a federal building. And giving permission to employees to proselytize to their coworkers and explain to them why they think their religion is right is absolutely using the power of the government to push your own faith. And considering the examples they gave, they're not talking about all religions. They're not talking about Muslims being able to pray at work. They are talking about Janet in HR being able to wear a giant crucifix around her neck and bother everybody on their lunch breaks about going to church with her. They're talking about your boss being able to pressure you into practicing his faith. This is not about protecting religious freedom. This is about forcing religion down the throats of the American people. And it's not even subtle. Like, it's very obvious in that whole memo. A memo he put together with the White House Faith Office, by the way, which is just a bunch of crazy evangelicals. And again, all of this is part of Project 2025. This religious Christo-fascist takeover was pre-written. And a lot of us warned about it, and a lot of you guys told us that we were delusional. Well, here we are. In 2025, your boss can now force his religion down your throat, if it matches one of those examples of, having a Bible or crucifix. Because I'm going to guess it's going to be a lot easier for somebody to claim they're being harassed if the person trying to force their religion is talking about Muhammad instead of Jesus. But that's just my opinion. Just my educated guess on this one.